Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the People's Power Hour here on Black Power Media. It is I, Jackie Lukman, the People's Prophetess, and it's really tickling that I'm the person who is here because he's been wanting me to preach for a minute. So I hope he's happy that somebody is calling me a prophetess. So thank y'all so much for joining me tonight. This show is incredibly special to me, not just because of who my guests are, all of them, but because I get to have show you all a peek into the history that I talk about all the time, that I know a lot of our families have endured, but a lot of us haven't sat down and talked with our families about the things that they have endured. And I've had the opportunity to do that. And so tonight is a really, really special conversation that I hope you are really, really going to enjoy. But before I introduce my very special guest, thank y'all so much for joining me here in Lukman Nation, another episode of the People's Power Hour in Lukman Nation. If you're watching on Black Power Media, you're watching on the most dangerous platform on social media. That's Black Power Media. And you're watching the most dangerous show on Black Power Media. That's Lukman Nation. That's us up in here right now. If you have not subscribed to Black Power Media, please do. Click the notification bell to make sure you get notified anytime anybody uploads anything on the site. And you can also support Black Power Media on Patreon, patreon.com/Black Power Media, where there is special patrons only content. You can also check out all of our content on Black Power Media, www.blackpowermedia.org, I think it is. Fantastic stuff. Cannot tell you how much great stuff is on the platform. You don't want to miss anything that we drop on Black Power Media. And tomorrow morning on the Remix Morning Show, let me tell you, we are having a fantastic guest in the 9 o'clock hour. Not going to tell you who it is. You're just going to have to tune in to watch. But before we get into it, I see y'all in here. Oh my gosh. Look at you. Shock G, the Jemimon 93, David Silberg, Eric Berkeley, Camilla A, Lisa Catlett, Sugar Booger 7, C Celestine, how are you, my dear? Renee Johnson, what's going on, comrade? Yipper 99, Chitty Matcha 1025, Manny Nile, 2Fs, mwah, Franny, how you doing? Let's see, T Brown, DC, Joe Black, what's going on, Mo? Good to see you. Joshua Ingram, Casey McIvor, Eric Berkeley, Leah Boggs, Ricky Ryan, and the one, the only Dr. Jared Ball up in the house. Let's get to it, y'all. Thank y'all so much for joining me. I can't take it no more. This is my daddy, y'all. This is my daddy. I'm so tickled. I don't know what to do with myself. So this is my dad, Cleophas Malone Jr., Elder Cleophas Malone Jr. for y'all who really, for the rest of y'all. And sitting beside him is his beautiful, fantastic, lovely wife, Nikita Malone, Evangelist Nikita Malone for the rest of y'all. You get this stuff straight. And on the phone, because we didn't have time to really connect with her and get her on video too, but on the phone is my Aunt Jean Esther. And I'm so excited to have all of you here to talk about your experiences growing up in a small town in America. So thank you all for coming.
You're welcome, babe. Glad to be here.
And it was so funny because Daddy asked me, so what are we supposed to call you? I'm like, what you been calling me?
Yeah, baby girl.
So I got to frame this conversation, because this conversation happened because I posted on Facebook a couple of days ago, like last week,
Yeah.
that, my mom integrated her high school. And kind of a little bit, about the hell that she went through doing that. And this whole controversy coming from this country singer, Jason Aldean. I don't know if you all heard about him and the little song and video he wrote, Try That in a Small Town. And the video was targeted toward, it was really blatantly obvious that the video was targeted toward protests, particularly Black folks protesting after the public lynching of George Floyd, the protests that happened in 2020. Jason Aldean's little video was all about, oh, come try that little protest stuff, spitting in the police face and disrespecting the police in a small town, blah, blah, blah. And so when you saw that, what I posted about my mom integrating her high school, Daddy, you called me and you said, I can tell you some stuff about that.
Yeah.
And we had a great conversation about all the stuff that I did not know about that. Now, Mama is no longer here. Mama passed away in 1996.
Yeah.
And I talked to her a little bit about that. I mean, it was actually something she didn't like just come right out and tell me. I can't remember how I found out, but I literally found out and like had to ask her, whoops, so sorry. I literally found out and had to ask her, Mama, did you integrate your high school?
Yes, she did.
And she was like, yeah, I did. And she told me a little bit about it, but she didn't tell me everything about it, because I guess I didn't realize how painful that experience was for her.
Yes,
but I remember her telling me, I just felt like it was something I needed to do. And she said to me, you weren't even a thought then. You were not even a thought then, but I knew that I did not want to miss the opportunity to do something important for the Black people in our town. I was like, wow, that's deep.
Right.
So then I talked to Grandma, who also passed away. Grandma passed away. Mama's mama passed away in 2018, I believe. But I did talk to her about how that experience was for her. Oh, I know what it was. And so when I posted on Facebook about my mom integrating her high school, I told the story that my grandma told me about being in the school board meeting. This was a public school board meeting in our small town.
Yeah.
And was this in Jarrett or Emporia?
In Jarrett.
Okay, this was in Jarrett, Virginia, Jarratt, y'all. That's the small town I'm from. Daddy was born in Emporia, which is the town right next to Jarrett. So Grandma told me the story about them being in the public school board meeting, talking about these 5 Black kids. It was 5, right?
Yeah, it was 5.
Yeah, it was 5 Black kids. My mom was one of them, and they were all related because it's a small town, y'all. So we're all cousins. That's just how it works in a small town. So these 5 Black kids who were planning to integrate the high school over in Emporia, right? And my grandma told this story that the white people were incensed. They were mad. They were cussing and threatening our families.
There was.
And so, so that's what happened. So my grandmother said she was so scared, but one of her brothers, so I guess that would have been my great uncle, I guess, granduncle, however you put that, got up, and I had told you all many times that my family, we ain't got no problem with guns. Several members of my family still hunt.
Oh, yeah.
And me and my brother, we're gonna have to have a discussion about Granddaddy's Winchester, but that's another conversation. But my grandmother said that one of her brothers, and I can't remember if it was her brother-in-law, like my grandfather's brother, or one of her brothers, but she said one of them got up and said to all the white people in the school board meeting in this white town with these racist white people,
Yeah.
after they have threatened our families, one of my uncles, granduncles got up and said, y'all can roll up on our houses if you want to.
That's right.
But you won't leave. Go ahead and try it. I wish you Ofays would. So I shared that because there's this weird narrative about Black people in the South being really passive and scared of white people, and we're just oh no, massa, please don't hurt us, and I'm like, that ain't my people,
No, we understand our grand.
Because grandmother, I remember her saying, I was scared. Every day I put my child on that bus, I was scared,
Yeah.
and I prayed, but I kept that shotgun by their door every day. And y'all watching, y'all didn't know my grandmama, but her and my daddy are probably the holiest people I ever met in my life. So for her to say that she kept the shotgun by the door while she was praying, that says something about the kind of people we were and are in the South. And then to hear my dad confirm not just this story, but the story of the many stories of these small acts of resistance to this ongoing white racism in this small town. So I'm gonna stop talking, because what you told me about what you knew, your experience with Mama integrating the high school, is so important, and it is so terrifying, because it just shows you how close our people always have been to losing their lives in these kinds of towns. So tell me what you told me about Mama integrating the school.
Well, your mom and I was dating at that time, and I didn't like it at all. I didn't, because I was getting around in the neighborhood, getting around in the town, and I knew how rough it was in Jared. And when she told me that she was going to that white school, then in Jared, I didn't like it. But she had her mind made up, and I'm glad that she did. But yes, she really had it hard going to that white school. Her and I used to talk a lot during the week about what she had went through that day, and she would cry a lot about how they would tease her, and how they would pull her hair, and then how they would call her different names, but she stuck on in there. She went back day after day. She went back to that old white school. And I can remember on one occasion in particular, she got sick. She had asthma.
Mm-hmm.
And she got sick, real sick, at school. And I don't know who it was, either the principal or the principal assistant. But anyway, somebody called my mom. And my mom got with one of her daughters. Her name was Barbara. And Barbara called me. And when I got the phone call, I rushed on to the school. I picked up Barbara and I rushed on to the school. We got to that school. And when we stepped out of the car, I had a nice looking car for a Black man at that time.
What did you call the car, Daddy?
It was a 1964 yellow Chevrolet. with black stripes and wide wheels.
He had a deuce and a quarter, y'all.
Stylish. And when we roll up on that white school lot, I pulled right up in front of the front door step. I didn't care. I pulled up right at the front door step. And we got out, walked up them steps. Those kids that were standing outside, they were looking at us like we was invading their territory. And they never said, hey, hi, or anything. They didn't point to the office. We didn't know where the office was, but we walked on through the front door. We knew what we were there for. We walked on to the front door, walked on to the, a principal's office, and he never got up. He sit there. He never got up, never said, hello, how you doing? I'm glad to meet you. But he sit there, and his assistant, she came in, and really she dealt with us. And when I told her who I was and who we were, she said, oh yeah. We call her Ann. And she said, yeah, Ann is here, but she's in the doctor's office, nurse's office. She wasn't in the principal's office. I would have thought that, I don't know, somehow I just thought that she was in the principal's office, but she wasn't. But even the principal, he never got up out of his seat to shake our hands or address us. Never. He called his assistant. She came in there and she says, come on with me and I'll take you right to the nurse's office. We got to the nurse's office and surely enough, your mama was there crying and the nurse had looked at her, but the nurse hadn't called anybody.
Hold on. She was having an asthma attack. She was obviously in distress.
Yes.
An untreated asthma attack can kill you.
Yes.
But they didn't call anybody. They didn't call 911. They didn't call the doctor. Nothing.
No. They didn't call anybody. And I don't know if evidently they knew that she had called. They allowed her to call somebody evidently. And so I guess that they were just being nice enough to wait until somebody got there. But they never called a doctor. They never called a rescue squad. Nobody was there when we got there. We walked back to the nurse's office. She was fairly nice, but you could still feel the prejudice. They wanted us out of there. They wanted us out of there. They really did. And so as we walked back down that hall toward the front doors, it was almost like a knife or sword or something going down the hall. Those kids were stepping out the way and just getting out of the way. They didn't want us to get close to them.
And nobody helped. Nobody
helped. Nobody stepped out to open the door or anything. Nobody. Nobody said, Ann, I hope you feel better. I can remember one of the black girls, as we went down the hall, one of the black girls came up to her and told her, that she hoped that she was all right, that she would be all right. I can remember that. But not one white student came over and said anything to your mom. Nobody.
So, Daddy, how old were you and Mama? Because y'all were around the same age. How old were you and Mama when this happened?
What, early? Middle 20s?
No, younger than that. Probably 16,
yeah,
17, 18.
Probably in our late teens.
So you were kids?
Yeah, really we were just young adults growing up, trying to get along in a hateful world. Really. But no, even the nurse didn't escort us out.
Wow.
The principal
as nice as she was, huh?
Right. The three of us, your mom, my sister Barbara, and myself, we walked down that hall. Got to the door and opened that door, got in that car. Nobody said, hope you feel better or anything. Nobody. You could feel the prejudice, And so we got in the car, and on the way back to taking your mom home, my sister Barbara says, no, I think I asked her, how's she doing? Should I take her home? And my sister, I never forget it, my sister Barbara said, Cleover, get this girl to the hospital. She's still in this asthma attack. Get this girl to the hospital. And that's what we did. We got her to the hospital, and that's the way it was,
Because Aunt Barbara was a nurse, right? She was the nurse?
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. But there was no assistance, no consideration, no compassion at that school at all that day when your mama was sick. We had to help her, hold her up to walk down the hall. Nobody offered any help.
Well, they didn't think that you had a right to be there.
That's right. My Aunt Jean, y'all.
Right.
I remember when I was going to school, they had us reading books that she, Dick, Run, and Jane Hop, Skip, and those white kids just across the river were reading books with stories. We didn't get the same books. We were doing 1 and 1 is 2, and 2 and 2 was 4, and they were doing algebra. And we were same grade. We had different books right here in this pitiful little emporium.
Right. I can believe every bit of it.
It is true.
Yes. Yes. And then, talking about that school, we couldn't play basketball on their court. They didn't want no black boys on that court.
Even though the school was integrated?
We couldn't. We would go down there, we would almost have to fight. They did not want us playing basketball on their nice court, using their nice rims.
Wow.
And I mean, just to keep from getting our feelings hurt and being pointed at, and they wouldn't talk on the breath. They would talk out loud that they wanted you to hear the name, that they were calling you. They wanted you to hear what they were saying, what they thought about you. So we just didn't go down there. We just stopped going.
I know. I'm your Aunt Jean, and you know that. But
yes, ma'am.
After the segregation stuff and all that junk, I was in New York, thank Jesus. But when I came back home, and the black boys were playing basketball over the river here in Emporia, where those white boys were playing, do you remember they took those things down?
Took the nets down. Yeah.
I remember that. When I was little, I remember that. I think I remember that happened.
Yeah. Took the nets down.
They couldn't stop us from coming, but they took them down. Do you remember? This hasn't been that long ago when they filled up the pool.
The swimming pool.
Yes, they filled it up with dirt because our black children could go over there and swim in that pool.
I didn't remember that. When did that happen?
It hasn't been too long. I don't think you remember that pool.
No, I don't remember the pool.
But they did have
down on Center Street.
On Center Street.
Center Street.
Yeah, on Center Street. They did have a white folks pool. Black people weren't supposed to go there.
And they filled it in with dirt.
They closed that pool down.
After the black folks dipped in the pool.
Yes.
That's right.
And they filled it in and shut it up.
They took down the basketball racks too.
Yes, they did.
Took down the basketball racks.
Over there playing basketball.
Yeah. I think they still have a tennis court there. Or they used to.
When you
They
come to
used to
town,
the
we can ride
gated,
over
the
there.
fence is up there, but all the stuff is down.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Field school in.
that's over on what street is that on?
Center Street.
Oh man, I know what that is. I did not know that. Oh my god. Who these white people?
Yeah.
So Daddy, what happened after Mama got well and she went back to school?
After she got well and everything, she went back and well, things worked out. It was still hard for her. Things worked out. She you know, I sit and listen to your mama and saw her cry many a nights because of the names that she would call, you know. But she never said, I ain't going back.
Oh my God.
She never said, I'm not going back. She always said, I'm going back. Yes, she did. Yes, she did.
Okay, I got my tissue ready because I told everybody that at some point I'm a boo-hoo ugly cry. It's gonna happen.
It was tough
but
on her.
it's a good thing because see, you have to understand, folks didn't, get to know my mama and they didn't get to know grandma. So, they all they have is me. So when you understand that I am just like her. I am just like her. And the more you listen to him, you'll understand I'm just like him too.
Oh, yeah.
This to hear that something disturbed my mama so much that it made her cry. Mama?
Yes. Yes.
And I went to junior high. I did 1 year of elementary school and 1 year of junior high in the same town with the children of these people.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Who did this to my family?
Yes.
Do y'all get how people talk about, oh, this is so long ago? This is my daddy sitting here, y'all. He's 75 years old.
76.
I'm sorry, 76. That's right, because my birthday is coming up this year. I'm 55. This is not a long time ago. This ain't our grandparents and great grandparents. This is our parents.
Yes.
So, okay. So, Nikita, I'm gonna come back to you and Jean, Daddy, for more stuff about the area. But Nikita, you grew up in Fayetteville, North Carolina, right?
Yes.
What was it like in Fayetteville?
Oh my goodness. I remember my first year of school. First grade, first time in school, because the teachers were all white, majority. There was only 2 black children in the class, me and another black young girl, and 1 Indian girl, and 1 Hispanic boy. We were located in the back of the class. We were overlooked. You could raise your hand and you knew the answer, but we would not get called on. We would not get called on at all. I never forget, it was just an awkward feeling because where my grandmother lived was in a little town called Lombard Bridge, North Carolina. And it was basically Lombard Bridge, North Carolina.
Lombard Bridge?
Uh-huh.
Okay, look that up, y'all.
It's and there we grew up around black people. It was just a small little black neighborhood. I remember times there was a gas station. One gas station we could not even go to. The people would have their dogs out there and they wouldn't call them back or anything or pull them back. So we couldn't go to that store. We had to go to the next store. And I remember getting things on credit and that guy was nice. But if he wasn't there, we knew we weren't going to go in there and get treated nice.
Wow.
You know. There was a side of the little town that we couldn't even walk down because the people, they had their dogs out and they had them signs up. We'll shoot. I'll never forget that. We'll shoot signs and they're bad dogs. So we had to stay on our side of the street or go all the way around to get to walk to the store because of that. But being in first grade, I just remember it so vividly that there's only 4 kids of color with any color, and we're seated at the back, overlooked, every time report card time came, our report cards always said below grade level, below grade level.
Wow.
I did not have my first African-American teacher until I was in the 3rd grade. And that's when I realized she's the only person that gave me above average.
Wow.
So I still remember, like I said, the white signs, the black signs. There was church we couldn't go in because it was white. I remember my grandmother housekeeping for a white family. Their child died. They wanted her to come to the funeral. And the church said my grandmother could not come in because of the color of her skin. And the lady said, well, I guess we'll be leaving. And they let my grandmother come to that funeral and my mother. But there was just places we just could not go. And likewise in Fayetteville, it was the same way. The blacks had their side of town, whites had their side of town. And it seems like anytime the blacks moved in the neighborhood, because I remember neighborhoods we lived in, they would not look at you, more or less acknowledge you or speak to you. And their kids better not say anything to you. It just wasn't acceptable. And I'm just in 2000 something, I was in Alabama, and the city part, the main strip looked nice. Go over one street over, you got the railroad track, and the sign still saying blacks only, whites only.
Wait a minute. Hold on. What year was this?
And 2001. So the further south you go, the worse it gets. A lot of places, the further south you go, the worse it is. You will still see signs, and you don't want to drive certain places in North Carolina, North South Carolina, Georgia, Alabama at dark to this day and time. There are just certain places you better gas up before you leave. Because they still have these little hick side gas stations on dirt roads or on main roads, and they will not welcome you. They were, literally, we had to stop for gas and little dirt road gas station. I'm like, okay. I told my mom, never again. I don't stop for gas on no dirt road. If it ain't on main road, we ain't stopping. The guy's looking dead in our face, and he sick those dogs out.
Wow.
So if my money's not good enough for you to treat me with decency and respect, you don't have to worry about me coming back. I don't like to go to a restaurant and they sit you in the back. It was so funny. We're down there in Alabama. I had my little niece and nephew. They had balloons. They set us in the back. The lights dim and it's dark. The balloon pop and they like to hit the floor. And I just burst out laughing because I'm like, this is what they get because they sat us back here in the back. And I was trying to be nice and not go off. I told my mama, it's time to go. Check-in is normally like, we get to Alabama like 4 something in the morning, and our reservation has been made. God would not let us in the hotel. 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock is check-in here. We had to sit in the car 4 more hours and wait till 8 o'clock. Then they put us in a rinky-dink room, and one of the kids went to bed, and we couldn't get fresh towels no more because they only once a week change the sheets and stuff.
And that's a lie. That's a lie.
I knew that was a lie. And suddenly one of the maids came by, a younger white girl, and she said, honey, she's just running her mouth about how she got a black man and how old girl, I get you anything y'all need. And that's what it took. Oh, the Army, immediately when the Army found out where we stayed, they put us on post. Closely said, don't ever get nothing on post or anywhere because they knew it's still going on. And that's the sad part about it. Here we are in our 50s, almost 60s, and you still have this kind of stuff going on. Right here in Fayetteville, we still have some schools. You know which schools are predominantly white because they have the better technology, they have the better books, they have the better materials, their teachers get paid better. It's just still happening, people try to play it down, water it down, but when you go certain places here in Fayetteville, you can feel it.
And what year was this? Was this the same year, 2001 in Alabama, when all this happened?
Oh, Alabama was 2001, where all the stuff in Alabama.
And you said that when the military found out that they put you on post, why would the military have gotten involved?
Well, actually, because we were there for my daughter's basic training, graduation.
Oh, okay.
Yes. And So we found out the hard way. My sister was like, oh, she said, I got y'all closest to the mall and stuff. But when we went to the mall, it was crazy. I mean, they looking at us like you're going to steal something. And all the interracial couples got the same looks we got. So I knew if you were interracial or colored, man, they gave you the look and watched you like a hawk.
Oh my God.
This is ridiculous.
That is, but the thing that got me was when you said the church. So you mean to tell me them holy Christian people, they racist too?
Well, you do have churches like that are still to this day. You know which side of the tracks that you can get on and you cannot. And they don't post no sign and say you're not welcome. But if you walk up in there, you gonna know.
You know real quick. You know real quick. Yeah, man. They stop. Even if they in there dancing and praising and running up and down the house, you walk in that door and everything and everybody stops, you know. Mm-hmm.
It is true. I mean, it is so true. Even in it's still, even in the middle school, I've seen this in elementary schools, I've seen this in middle schools and high schools. It's something people cannot hide. If it's in you, it's going to come out of you. You can tell when you go to visit your child or grandchild's teachers, you can tell definitely which ones, and you have to stand your ground and say, wait a minute now. This is how this is going to go down. Because I let them know I'm educated too. I paid my dues, and you're not going to do my child or my grandchild any kind of way.
And I'm glad you said that, Nikita, because if you don't mind, what do you do for a living?
Actually, I am a preschool teacher. And I've been doing this for over 30 years. I've worked in the public school system as a teacher assistant. I work with Head Start program, and I actually see sometimes, one school setting, we couldn't put up any African-American stuff without people getting offended. And especially when Obama was in office, people would not speak to us. I was like, we're grown people. This is silly. You couldn't wear any thing promoting Obama or, this kind of stuff is just ridiculous.
Wow.
Juneteenth came and somebody was like, well, why do they need a day? Okay, come on. You got to think about what our ancestors went through. When were y'all in slavery and bondage? So this kind of stuff where they don't want you to teach Black history to the children. They don't want to celebrate what we celebrate. And if you don't teach your children now to respect themselves and where they came from, they're going to be lost. And it's just, our educational system is just so twisted because you wait to get to college a lot of times and really find out more about your African-American history than you do in high school, elementary school. And they're really trying to cut it out totally. Mm-hmm. And we have to stand up for our rights and share about our culture. Our culture is important. Our history is important. Mm-hmm. But
if you get to college, you ain't learning much either. Mm-hmm. So
a lot of dates and names that you did not know mostly. Mm-hmm. But suffering is real. It's going on. It's still going on. Racism is real. And we have to know how to deal with it. I like when your dad, the things he was telling me about how when he was younger, they couldn't walk on the other side of the tracks.
No, couldn't do it.
Yeah. So for people, my dad's dad, built the family house. And tell me if I'm getting this wrong, Daddy. He built that house with his own two hands.
Yes.
And that house still stands. It's still the family house. And the house sits on the top of a hill. It's called Greenville Hill in Emporia, Virginia. Tell us the history of Greenville Hill, Daddy, and the context of the Black folks on one part of the hill and the white folks on the other, and how that,
Well, I'm glad that my sister is, tuning in because she could probably tell you more. Excuse me, but Greenville Hill was, what do you say, predominantly black. Black folks lived up on Greenville Hill. And when you got to the bottom of the hill, going on down that street was the white folks area. And Greenville Hill was, it was a good place to be raised at. I can remember how we, as a neighborhood, you know how it says it takes a village or a neighborhood to raise a child. That's the way Greenville, that's the way I sort of remember some of the older folks in Greenville Hill. Because if I went up the block and messed up, Mama heard about it.
Before you got back home.
Before I got back home, Mama heard about it. You know, somebody would call her and tell her. That's the way it was. Greenville Hill. We were concerned about each other. We cared about each other. And like I said, it was a black neighborhood and we looked out for each other. And but oh boy, like I said, in the bottom of the hill, I learned as I grew up, don't go down the bottom of that hill where the white folks was. We could not walk straight down that street that we lived on. If we walk down that street, Jean, are you there?
I'm right here.
As you walk down that street, got in the white folks' neighborhood, they had them big dogs, German Shepherds, bulldogs or whatever, but they had them big dogs. And they sat out on their nice front porch with them, just waiting for some, well, I don't want to use the word, but just waiting for some black somebody to walk down their street. And so they would sick them dogs on you.
Sure would.
That's right. They would sick them dogs on you. Now, get this. One block over was a train track. We could walk down the train track. We had to walk down the train track to get downtown. We had to walk down the train track to get downtown. We had to walk back up the train track to get back home. Yes, ma'am. That am I right, Jean?
Yes, but please let me tell this story.
Tell it.
All right, thank you. My mama was a rebel. I'll tell anybody that. Because one day she said, Jean, we're going to walk downtown. I said, okay. I'm thinking I'm going over on the railroad track. And she said, we're going down End Boulevard. And she had a stick with her with a nail in it. I said, Mama didn't talk a lot. She just act. So, and there's two ladies sitting on the porch. They were so mean. They told that dog to get him. And that dog ran out there. And Mama put a whipping on that dog's butt with those nails in it. She didn't have to hit him but once or twice. He ran back on it and screaming. He was bleeding. And the lady said, we're going to call the police because you done hurt my dog. She said, if you didn't want him to get killed, you should have kept him in the yard. That dog did not run out at us anymore. And we walked in and that dog went crazy. He remembered his whipping. Now, that's a true fact. We could not. They would take those big dogs on us.
That's right. Could not walk down End Boulevard.
Had to walk over two streets, over a street. And
One
walk
block.
down the railroad track.
That's right.
Because Carroll Street too was white, remember, Cleo? And they didn't want us to walk down Carroll Street, and we lived on End Boulevard.
Right.
But we lived on the hill. Go down that hill? No, they would take those dogs out.
That's right.
Now, Daddy, I'm trying to picture in my mind grandmama with a stick with some nails in it. Some dogs, and I can't see it. But I know she did.
I believe she did.
She did.
Mama didn't play.
No, she did not.
No, she did not. Nope.
Mama didn't play.
But Daddy, you didn't either. For real though, you didn't either because
I was too scared.
Okay. So my daddy is about my height. I'm only 5'1". He ain't that much taller. He might have half an inch on me.
All right, that's enough of that. That's enough of that.
But you didn't back down from a fight.
No.
When you were presented with one, and there were two stories that you told me that just, I swear, they had me in stitches. But one was the bus station.
Yeah.
And the other was when you all were sitting on the front porch or the front of the house.
It was, yeah.
White boys rolled up in the car. So what happened?
Well, Gene, if you remember, right straight across from the house, I think the building is still there. Mr. House used to live in the building, but the Jordans used to live in that building. Ray and Kistner. And then that building didn't have a porch. It just had a front yard. And so one night in particular, us young folks were sitting out in the front yard, and talking. And about a block up the street, we saw the car made the turn coming down the street. We didn't pay that any mind. There was a car coming down the street. But when it got to us, he turned the car directly to us and drove up in the yard, almost in our laps. They didn't get out the car, but they leaned out the windows. What y'all N-words doing sitting out here this time of night? And of course, we being at home, we passed some words back and forth. So finally, they backed up and went on about their business. But they did that. We just sitting out there talking, shooting the breeze, as we used to say, minding our business. And when they got to us, they pulled that car directly in front of us, leaned out the window and said, what y'all N-word doing sitting out here this time of night? Yeah, I remember that.
Tell about the train track.
I remember that.
You and Jimmy on the train track.
Okay, my wife about the train track.
Uh-huh.
As we said, we used to have to walk downtown on the train track. So we had been downtown. A bunch of us boys had been downtown drinking, boozing, and dancing and stuff. So it was getting late. And my dad was strict, about what time you need to be back home. And so I told a friend of mine, man, I'm going on back home there. It's getting late. And he said, well, okay, I'm going on with you. So we get up all the way up the train track, and we had to get off of the train track over to the street that we lived on. And so as we got up the train track to cross over, this car had been following us. We were on the train track. The car was on the street following us up the train track. And when we got up to the point where we could cross over to go to our street, this car full of white boys, I guess it was about 3 or 4 white boys, pulled up in front of us at the crossover and stopped. And when they stopped, I think it was 3 of them. All 3 of them got out their cars. They didn't have nothing in their hand. They got out there. That was their problem. They got out the car and they wanted to know, where was y'all N-words going to and where y'all been? As if it was some of their business.
Uh-oh. It's about to get good, y'all. Go ahead.
Yes, ma'am. It got good. But anyway, we was, passing words, and all of a sudden I heard some scuffling. I was standing in front of my friend. I heard some scuffling behind me. So I looked behind me, And that joker done took off running and left me there. Yeah, Gene. Yeah, Gene. The guy's name was Jimmy Young.
He still remember his
I hope he's listening tonight. Yes, Mr. Young, if you listen tonight, I still remember. I turned around and looked, and I could see him. I could see him in the distance. He wasn't playing. He was running. Left me standing there by myself. And I said, well, I didn't say, Lord have mercy. I wasn't saved then.
You won't say
It's time to go to walk.
I wasn't preaching then.
Oh,
But I turned back around to them white boys. I put my hand in my pocket, and they started talking trash. And I put my hand in my.
What you in your pocket for, Daddy?
Well, I had a friend. I had a friend. I had a friend in my pocket. And I put my hand in my pocket, scared. I knew I was just gonna get whooped up that night. They didn't have anything in their hands. So I said, well, that's on my side. But I put my hand in my pocket and I told them as nice as I could. I said, listen, y'all. I said, I live right around the street, right around the corner. And I'm trying to get home. I never forget. I was almost begging, just let me get home. Scared, and I said, I really don't want no mess. I just want to get home. And they said, and they kept on talking junk. And I could see that they were not going to just let me go home. And I think one of them said, your friend is gone. What you gonna do now? And I said they didn't know it. But that friend was gone. But I had enough friends. I put this switchblade. Now, my daddy was a good old digger. Yes, he was. My mama was a good old missionary. Yes, she was. But their son was a hair raiser. I pulled this switchblade out of my pocket, and I had made up my mind. I'm gonna get my butt whipped. I know I am, but I'm gonna cut one of them first. I made up my mind, Gene. I'm gonna cut somebody, even if I get whooped. I'm gonna cut somebody. And I told them. I made sure they could see the knife. Yeah, I showboated the knife. I made sure they could see it. I said, now, I told y'all, I'm just trying to get home. I live right around the street. I said, but now, if you walk up on me, I'm going to cut one of y'all. I know I'm going to cut one of y'all. And so I guess they just felt sorry for me or either got scared of my friend, one of the two. But anyway, they backed on off me, got in their car, then I ran. I ran in, hurry up and got home. But that surely happened to me. I, scared. I'm telling you, yes, ma'am. And they waited just as good until we got to that crossover, and they speeded up and pulled in front of us.
Wow. And
stopped us right there. What y'all doing out here this time of night? And that happened.
I mean, and if y'all don't get it, that's how lynchings happen.
Oh yes,
that's what they did.
Right.
That is how they did it. They rolled up on people, minding their business, and it didn't have to be in the middle of the night.
Right.
But this dude Jason Aldean want to talk about in a small town we take care of each other. We weren't safe from white people in these small towns.
No, you won't.
And in a lot of places, like Nikita said, we still ain't safe.
That's right.
I can tell you that when me and Abdus went to, because I want you to tell a story about the bus station.
Okay.
When me and Abdus went to the first vacation we took, we went to Myrtle Beach. And we went to this resort in Myrtle Beach down in South Carolina, and I hadn't been to. I don't think I'd been to Myrtle Beach before. I've been to Virginia Beach, but we had come and visited. I think we came and visited y'all, and then we're like, okay, well, we're just gonna go on the way down to Myrtle Beach. So we're hanging out in the resort. We were at a resort, hanging out in a pool. Two chocolatey, fluffy Black folks enjoying ourselves in this pool. And Abdus notices that all these white people are like really taking a lot of interest in us.
Yeah, right.
And I'm like, well, maybe it's me, because you know how the Lord blessed me. So I'm just like, maybe it's me. And Abdus, do you know how he was? He was a great judge of character. He was like, girl, it don't got nothing to do with you and that chest of yours. These people do not want us here.
That's right.
They don't want us here. And he said, so you know what? Let's have a good old time.
Mm-hmm. Exactly what you
So
do.
we had ourselves the best time kicking around and splashing around in that pool, pissing them white people off, because they did not want us at that place. It was obvious. And this was when we got married in 2014. So this was 2015, 2016, maybe.
Yeah.
So this sentiment among these people that there are places that they consider theirs, that they don't want us in.
Yeah,
that's true.
Which means we're not safe. We're not safe in a lot of places, because please don't think that these people, given the opportunity, will not roll up on some Black folks who are unaware and unprepared. We want them Negroes, but I don't think anybody was going to roll up on us with Abdus next to us. But yeah. So then there was a story about the bus station.
Okay. Gene, you remember where the first bus station was on that back street?
Valley Street, yeah.
I forget the name of the street.
Valley Street.
Valley Street. That's right. Valley Street. I don't think you remember that one, Lynn. But
I don't know where that is.
But it was where our bus station, Emporia bus station, was in a small building, wasn't it, Gene?
Yeah.
It was a small building, but it had as it was again, we had already been downtown, boozing it up and having a good time. And so it was getting late again. And it had began to rain, and was raining pretty good and hard. By the time we got ready to leave and go home, it had begun to rain right hard. And so we went past the bus station. And so just to get out of the rain, that's all. Not to bother anybody, not to cause any problem. Just to get out of the rain, we went in the front door of the bus station. Oh, Lord, what did we do that for? And when it was about 4 of us, and when we walked up in that bus station, that little short, fat, dumpy looking white man stood up and said, "What y'all niggas doing in here? Don't y'all know y'all come in the wrong door to get a ticket?" And we said, "Well, we really don't want a ticket, sir. Being nice, like Black folks ought to be toward white folks, then being nice. Well, we really don't want a ticket, sir, but you can see how hard it's raining outside. We just come in to get out the rain." And we explained to him fully, as soon as it slack up, doesn't have to stop, just slack up, we'll leave. And he started cussing, and I'm gonna call the cop, And of course, by then, the blackness began to come out.
He said the black.
He calling us all them names and stuff. We ain't about to leave now. So after a while, I think it was 3 or 4 white boys. We was on one side of the room by the time they came in there, minding our own business again. I think it was about 4 white boys. They came up in there. And they started calling names, pointing fingers, and acting all bad and nasty, and what they gonna do to us, and this and that. I mean, just acting hateful and bad. Like we were really nobody. Don't y'all know y'all supposed to be out there, outside, around the back? Because you could, if black folks wanted a ticket, they had a window around the side of the building where we could go up to that window and get tickets. They even had a black's water fountain on the outside. But anyway, them white boys come up in there acting whitish. And I tell you, we got to fighting up in there.
Wow.
Yeah, Gene, you ain't know all this about your brother.
Well, this is the first I heard this.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah, well, you remember the fight then at the gas station that we was in, don't you?
Wait, at the gas station?
Yeah, at the gas station. Remember, there was a gas station at the bottom of West End Boulevard.
Right.
Yeah, that same gas station. We got to fighting down there one night. But anyway, back to the bus station episode.
We get to the gas station.
Yeah. We got to fighting up in there, and the guy called the police. And when the police got there, we were still fighting. But anyway, they separated us, and they didn't lock us up. But they made us leave. They made us go on out in the rain and leave, and we did. So after that, we went on and act blackish. We didn't go back in the front door no more.
But look, I remember at the bus station, there was a door that the black people could come in, and it was a door for the white people.
Yeah.
So you were over there on the white side.
Yes, ma'am.
Oh, okay, because that was the closest door to getting out of the rain?
Yeah. That was the only door. Yeah.
Right. Then if you went on the black side, you had to walk around the building.
Around the
to come
building.
in that side.
Yes.
Yes. But do you remember this? Remember when Tony Jefferson was in the army?
Yeah.
And he came home on a furlough and was waiting to go catch the bus back to Camp Lejeune or someplace.
Yeah.
That's army.
Yeah.
And this white man wouldn't let him. Well, he'd on the other side for the black people, and this was December, and he won't about in there but the white guy, and he wouldn't let Tony come in on that white side to get warm. I need not to tell y'all what went down.
Oh yeah, I believe it.
No, tell us what went down.
That man too. Yeah.
Tony would.
And then he didn't kill him. You don't remember the clip?
Yeah, I remember Tony telling it.
And you know what? He never went to jail. Tony sat right there being cool. I was told, and when the bus came up, he just jumped on the bus and went on back to Camp Lejeune.
Yeah, but
and somebody found the man the next day, and all the man could say was somebody with a soldier uniform on.
Tony almost killed that man.
Almost killed that man. Oh my God.
So I ain't mad. So
to this day, Emporia does not have a bus station, has a train depot, and they don't let the train stop. The Amtrak comes right through there, 24/7, and they do not. They shut the bus station completely down.
Shut it down.
Yes, they did.
Come there. And it's all about racism. It really is the root of it. It's the racism. And they shut the bus station down. They won't allow the train to stop there. They say it's overpopulated with too many of us there anyhow, and they ain't trying to let no more come there.
So I forgot, Aunt Jean, how much older are you than Daddy? From Daddy, you're older than Daddy, right?
Of course, yeah.
She said, of course.
I'm the baby.
So that's why there are some things that Aunt Jean is hearing that she didn't know, and there's some things that Daddy's asking Aunt Jean that he doesn't know because she's older than he is. So there's that that's so funny, of course.
And another thing about Emporia, we went on the internet trying to find all the black businesses that used to be owned there, and they're not listed in the historical part of Emporia's history.
Sure isn't.
You kidding?
They are not listed. They are not listed in the historical part of Emporia, Virginia. They did not list a lot of the black businesses.
So, Gene, Daddy was telling me about all of the Black businesses that used to exist in Emporia. What, off the top of your head, what were some of the Black businesses that you remember?
Okay, on this side of the river was for us. We had everything we needed on this side of the river. We had we had our own barbershop, we had our own doctors, we had our own theater, we had our own drugstore.
And cafes.
Oh man, we had some cafes. We were some partying people.
Theater.
But that the barbershop that I was trying to remember the name to, it was Dillard's barbershop.
That's what it was. Dillard's barbershop.
Right.
Sure was.
Black people owned those things on Atlantic Street and Halifax Street.
On Atlantic?
Yeah.
Atlantic and Halifax Street used to be booming with Black business.
Yes, ma'am. It sure did.
Yeah.
We had everything we needed on this side of the river. Even though the white people on the other side, they had a movie theater and they let us come in, but we had to go upstairs. And I don't know, they was pretty dumb because then the boys, I guess some of the girls used to throw stuff down on the white people's head.
Sure did. I did.
I never did.
Got some popcorn just to throw it over the balcony.
But you know, if a fire, I thought about it later. If a fire had occurred, we would have got burnt up.
Yeah.
Because we would have been down them long steps. When the white people would get up and run out the door.
Yeah.
Wow.
But God bless us, nobody got hurt up there. But they tell me some of the boys, I don't know, Cliff, I hope you didn't do this. He down there on the people's head.
I ain't gonna tell you.
Let's keep that between him and the Lord. Let's just
move on. I told y'all I ain't always been saved.
You better be glad Mama gone because I would call her right there now. The girls couldn't do that. But they did those popcorn and candy wrappers and the boxes and all that stuff down there. And cold sodas down. I didn't do that. I didn't do anything.
Let's get back to Halifax Street. Go ahead, baby.
So people are asking in the chat what happened at the gas station.
Oh, at the gas station?
Yeah.
Oh, a lot of people listening.
I told you. Yes.
Well, at the gas station, I wasn't there when the fight started. I was at home. Now, Gene, you know, Daddy didn't take no mess neither.
No, he did not. They shot down in a minute.
I was at home, and I got word that Juniper, which was one of my cousins, was in a fight with some white boys down at the gas station. And I was at home. And I jumped up, then took off and get ready to run down to the gas station. Daddy said, boy, wait a minute. What you got to fight with? This is Daddy, Gene.
Okay, you're surprised.
And Daddy was a digger at that time, y'all.
Woo.
Daddy was one of them good old diggers. Daddy said, boy, wait a minute. Where you going? Daddy had heard what the guy told me. And Daddy said, what you got to fight with? And I said, Daddy, I ain't got nothing to fight with. And I said, I got to go, Daddy. And he said, wait a minute. I don't know if y'all remember them old hook bill knives. Now,
I do.
It was a knife, but hook
in it.
The blade had a hook in it.
A little hook in it, yeah.
Daddy went in his toolbox and got a hook bill knife. And he gave it to me. And he knew where I was going to fight. He gave me that hook. Gene, Daddy did it, Gene.
I believe it. You don't need you need a weapon.
Daddy gave me that hook bill. And Daddy said, it's sharp too, son.
It's sharp.
It's sharp too, son. And he said, don't be scared to use it. Don't let them hurt you. And by the time I got down there, sure enough, they were fighting. But the police rolled up, shortly after I got down there. So I really wasn't in the fight, but I was there. And shortly after I got there, the police rolled up. But yeah, the fight at the gas station, I went down there ready. I went down there, read out there. Hey, it happened.
I know.
And go ahead, Aunt Jean.
We were going to protect our own.
Yes.
And that's the truth.
That's the truth.
Somebody, and you know what? It was so terrible with Greenville Hill one time. I was raised up here. When we moved on Greenville Hill, Daddy built that house up there for us, 14 rooms in that house. I was just starting school, 6 years old, and we looked out for each other. But Greenville Hill was not all that nice either. They wouldn't allow those boys from White City to come up here. And you know what I'm telling you? To come up here to date the girls up here.
I was the gang leader.
Oh my God!
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on.
Run them off. They would run them away.
Yes, ma'am.
Did you just say you were the gang leader?
Yes, I did, darling. Yes, I did, darling. They appointed me the gang leader.
Because he talked much trash and always had a little side pocket in his.
And ain't nothing changed. Ain't nothing changed.
Oh my God, help us, Jesus. You had Buffalo gang or some kind of name they had for that gang at that time.
What was that name?
Well, the Greenville Hill gang, we were called the Greenville Hill gang.
Okay.
And we had, and at that time, we didn't let no white boys come up there either.
I know them boys that downtown couldn't come up there to see the girls.
Couldn't come up there. And at that time,
that's what they did.
they would call us the Greenville Hill gang. And, at that time, we weren't using the internet, but we had a catalog. And you could order stuff through the catalog. You remember, Jimmy?
Sure. And another one I can't think of right now. Sears,
right. And being the gang leader, we used to have our little meetings in the basement. We had a basement still there. We used to have our little meetings in the basement. And so at one meeting, we decided that we wanted to have some white coats, and we wanted some kind of slogan or emblem to put on the back of the coat. And so we all agreed to it, and we looked through the catalog, and we saw a big bulldog.
Oh, no.
Saw a big bulldog.
You did?
Yes, we did. We saw a big bulldog advertised in the catalog, and it was a patch. It was a patch. And so the guy said, Cleet, we want to get that patch and have it sold on the back of our coats. And so that's what we did. I guess it was about 9 or 10 of us. We got that bulldog patch, and I think Mama.
Don't tell me she sewed them on. Don't tell me she sewed them. Oh my God.
I don't know if she did it, but she knew that we were having meetings in the basement. She knew that we were having meetings. And when we got them patches, I don't remember if she did it by herself, but anyway, I know she had a hand in sewing those patches on the back of our coats. Baby, we wore them coats with that bulldog patch on the back of it. We wore it proud. Greenville Hill Bulldog. That's what we were called, Greenville Hill Bulldog. And when the white boy heard about that, what you talking about? Seemed like it got worse when we went downtown.
Wow.
Because we all had on our coats. Mm-hmm. And even the White City gang, they had their coats.
Oh, they knew that was trouble. They saw either one of them groups.
They had their coats too. But and I mean and they're like my sister said, and Lynn, remember I told you that black folks at one time almost owned part of Emporia. Am I right, Jenny?
Oh yeah, everything almost on this side of the river was, and they owned it. They won't rent it. They had their own camps. We had their own shoemaker. We had our own bakery. Oh man, we had so much. Emporia is nothing now like it used to be. Nothing.
No.
Oh, and Daddy, you told me about the cafes, how you all and Aunt Jean, you were saying this too before we went live, that you couldn't dance in the front of the cafe. You had to do it. You had to dance in the back where the white people couldn't see. Why was that?
I don't really know, but the policeman said probably say you don't have license for that because they made us get license to do everything besides sit on the sidewalk. You could do that. But other than that, because there was supposed to be a dance hall.
A dance hall.
It wasn't a dance hall. It was a cafe. But every cafe just about had a big room in the back with a piccolo in it.
Sure did.
And we would go right on back there and dance. You couldn't have a dance hall.
Wow. And Granddaddy had one of those. Did Granddaddy have one of those?
One of what?
Well, yeah, we had a restaurant
cafe
with a piccolo, but we would listen to the music. But they couldn't dance in there either. But you could have the music. They sold sandwiches and stuff. Yeah.
Okay. What's a piccolo? Because these kids watching this thing don't know what a piccolo is. What's a piccolo?
They don't remember a piccolo machine.
Somebody no.
Yeah, you put the quarter in it.
A jukebox.
Jukebox. Yeah. Jukebox. Piccolo jukebox. You put the quarter in it and you push the numbers of the song that you want to hear, and it will play.
Yes. That is before some folks' time.
But you know, back then they had the 45 and the small records.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Wow. Wow. Yes, Sugar Booger. Piccolo. It's
Piccolo. Piccolo. You're right.
So about the black businesses, what happened to all the black businesses? Because
when I
was coming up, there weren't any. The last, and Uncle oh shoot, his name just escaped me, but our Aunt Bertha was. I couldn't remember whether she was a cook at the cafe or whether she owned the cafe. But I don't remember any other black people in the businesses along on Main Street or Halifax when I was coming up. So what happened to all these black businesses?
Go ahead, Jane.
I didn't hear the question.
She said, what happened to all the black businesses?
This is what I think happened. When the people died off and the children left and they sold it. That's the only thing I can think of. Because these were, do you remember the damn Wilkins Cafe?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Yes,
and
ma'am.
you know, we used to go in there and drink liquor and go in the back on what y'all did in the back. I mean, you know.
Well, I ain't always been saved.
Drink in the back and drink the beer in the front.
Yep.
Dance in the back.
Yep, that's it.
But that's what it was. See, you know what? Everybody has never had a lot to offer. Black once we got to be grown and we finished school. What's coming back here for? There was nothing here for you to do. So that's what happened when the parents died out. The children sold everything, sold all the business. Everything. It's so pitiful now. But I remember when you all were talking about the white people would mess with you just walking the street. That this hasn't been that long when Mama was sick. And remember, Cleo after came down here to help me with Mama?
Yeah.
And Billy would come home in the evening in the summertime. We would go for a walk. And we would walk over the river all the way. We would walk all the way to the grill. Do you remember that white grill that was over there?
Yes, I do.
Okay, we would walk all the way over there and walk all the way back. And one night we were coming back home. Just her and I walking along, talking and looking in the window. This carload of white boys stopped. They certainly scared us. You know what I mean?
Right.
And they would talk and jump, saying what they're going to do to us and everything. I said, let's not run, because then they might get up and run behind us. So we just walked along and they drove on. But the next night when we decided we were going for our walk, we were ready for them.
I know it. You had to be.
Yeah. when Esther came to live with me to help me take care of Mama, Esther had a gun.
You want to shoot nobody, was you?
Oh, just a shoot. Make us wait for it to do something else. Think about it. If they had, it was 3 or 4 of them. If they had to stop that car and put us in that car, y'all never would have saw us again.
Right. And you know, I thought about that. I thought about that when my friend left me. Those 3 white boys could have easily put me in that car.
That's right.
Took me off somewhere and killed me. Yes, they could have. One of them would have surely been cut, but they still could have put me in the car.
Right, that's right. 3 against 1.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
And so Emory hasn't gotten that much better.
No, it
not
hasn't.
that much. Since I came back home, they stopped up the swimming pool over there with sand and whatnot because they couldn't keep the black boys from coming over there swimming. So they filled the swimming pool up. They took down the basketball court. Those things, you know, that they loops or whatever they call it. They did everything they could, and it hasn't been that long. So Emory has not changed that much.
It has not changed a lot. It hasn't.
It has. It absolutely has not, because where is this story? Hold on. I want to share this story with y'all because this is just evidence that it has not changed that much. And oh, that's what I wanted to mention. What was his name? Jefferson, the soldier who beat the white man. What was his name?
To beat the white. Oh yeah,
Tony Jefferson.
Yeah, Tony Jefferson.
Wasn't he related to us?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, just so there's that. So, you know, big up Tony, cousin Tony, for getting your licks in for the people. And going on about your business. But this happened in 2021. Racist voicemail left for delegate reveals depth of intolerance and hatred in Virginia. This is in Emporia. Let me sorry about this, y'all. Forgot. Let me make that bigger so you can see it and read along with me. On the weekend leading up to the November 2nd election, Delegate Rosalind Tyler, Democrat in Sussex, received a racist voicemail message, which the Virginia Division of Capitol Police are now investigating. In the almost 3-minute message, a male caller asks, "What kind of sad animals are you?" when referencing celebrating Juneteenth, which he referred to as an Ebonic holiday. The caller then goes on to say that once elected, Republicans are going to teach the truth that Black people are inherently lazy and are criminals. The caller added his belief that there is science out there to prove Black people are not fully evolved yet. Obviously, deep white supremacist belief. He wraps up his message to Delegate Tyler by listing several reasons as to why he believes African American people are inferior to white people, including his belief that African Americans are, quote, the dumbest race on the planet. Referring to Delegate Tyler's service and commitment to her community, as well as her desire to keep her seat in the Virginia House of Legislatures, the caller viciously proclaims, "We are not going to let stupid apes like you be in."
Right. And that is today.
That 2021.
Right, 2021.
Not only did that happen in 2021, but Delegate Rosalind Tyler, she's also related to us.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. She's your cousin. Yes, she is. Yes, she is.
There's a lot we could say about her being a Democrat, but that's a whole nother.
Yeah.
That's a whole nother. Show. Y'all know what my politics are, so. But this thing of white people not wanting to do anything to address the very recent history of racist terrorism, because I wanted to have you all on this show for selfish reasons, because I needed to get my family on record to tell these stories about where we come from, who we are, and the kind of people we are, and what we have survived. Because if y'all haven't figured it out yet, I didn't steal nothing of what I am.
No.
It is him. Is him, is the people I come from. I am a product of this man,
Yes,
his
indeed.
parents, my mama, and her folks. My grandmama, I wouldn't cross that woman, and she was real holy. She was, oh my God, she was real holy. I used to think grandma had a direct line to the Lord. Cross her when it came to any of her kids and her grandkids. You find out real quick.
Lynn,
Uh-huh.
this just came to mind when you were talking about your grandmama. I was at their house one evening when your mama came home from school. And she came home, she ran up to the porch and she was crying again. She was crying. And so she came on in the house and we all gathered around her and everything. Your grandma, God bless her soul. I'm glad she didn't do it. Your grandma said, I'm Clifford, and I don't know why she called me, but she said, Clifford, I'm going down to that school in the morning.
What?
I said, Miss Cornelia, no, you're not. I said, you're going to make it worse. That's all right. This is my child,
Oh my.
And believe me, that was the first time I had seen her, get a little uneasy, but she really got mad. I guess she was just tired of her child coming home crying. But see, that was something your mama had to endure. But your grandmama, she really I'm going down to that school in the morning. I'm going to take her down there. You're going to have to take me there. I said, no, man. I said, no, Miss Cornelia. No, Miss Cornelia. I'm telling you. But she really, at that point in minute, she meant what she was saying. Your mama
never told me that part. She
your
did
mama
not tell me that part.
Yes, ma'am. Your mama came to that house crying.
One time too many. One time too many.
Your grandmama got upset. And she was saved.
I think grandma was saved her whole life.
I'm going to tell you too. I could tell that she wasn't playing. I'm tired of it. I said, I didn't know whether to say something or leave, run and leave. I'm telling you, she was serious.
Oh my goodness.
She was tired of them white folks picking.
Mistreating her child.
Yeah, picking and abusing her child.
I probably went in there with a gun.
She really was.
She had
several
that we found later on.
Oh yeah.
Like we found one handgun that was wrapped up in a paper bag, and it was so old that it had fallen apart. But we found it like in a pantry somewhere. And Alfred was the one who found it. He was like, Mama, what the devil is this? And she was in there. Grandma, at the time Alfred found that gun, I think she was 90. I think she was maybe 89 or 90 years old. So, and we're just cleaning out the pantry from all the stuff,
Yeah.
And he's like, what the devil is this? And she's looking at and she giggled like a little child. Like, oh, I don't know how that got in there. Oh,
Look, I've never seen that before.
I just forgot that was that. I was like, Grandma, come on now. And I think Aunt Clara asked her if she ever shot it. And then she went with the giggling again. Well, times was hard.
Times was hard, honey.
But then that's when she kind of told us some of the stories about the night riders riding along those back roads.
Along those back roads. You didn't travel them back roads at night.
No. Oh yeah, the road that. So my grandma's house sits on a back road.
Yes.
Right off 301.
Right.
And 301 used to be the major highway through Virginia, where 95 was built. Yes. So the road that my grandma's house is on, the Black families, and I didn't realize this until like later in life, but the Black families lived kind of in the middle. because the country club is at one end of the road.
Yes, right. Black people didn't go there.
No, no.
Except to work in the kitchen.
Right. And you and that end of the road led to the other end of 301
Yes.
that led to town.
That led to town. Right.
But you couldn't go down that end of the road. You had to take 301 the long way to go to town. And my grandma, so then the other end of that road that my grandma's house is on, and the house is still there, was the other end of the back road that you said, Daddy, that the white people would not let black folks go there.
No, not down that road. Remember where our store was?
Yes.
Where that road going back that way.
Right. That end of that end of the road.
That way. It used to be a bridge. Right. It didn't happen to me because I didn't travel that road. But I used to know some guys that did travel that road because they lived back in there. And there used to be a bridge on that road. The bridge is still there. And they would tell how the white folks would patrol that bridge.
Wow.
And they would stop any black man coming across that bridge at night and wouldn't let them go across it. You know where the store is. It was on that back. There is a bridge back there. On that back road, going back to Emporia, but the back way to Emporia.
Oh, past in-law's house on that road?
Yeah, way down the road.
Yeah, way past on Laura's house.
Way past that. That back road would take you all the way to Emporia.
Okay. I think they called something back there
Grizzard was back there. Grizzard community. Grizzard community. They was all white. It was all white. You had to go through. You had to go through Grizzard, and they didn't want no black people coming through their community.
No, they want no black people back there in the Grizzard town.
No, ma'am.
She said it like.
And white people would patrol that bridge, and they would stop any black man and turn him around. I also heard this, Lynn. And I know a little bit about it, not much, that during a certain period, Emporia, the Ku Klux Klans, I guess I can say that.
Yeah.
The Ku Klux Klans had a headquarters in Emporia.
A headquarters.
Do you know where it was?
No, I never found out where it was.
Let me tell you.
Okay, come on.
It was upstairs. If you were so little, Cleopa. No, you wasn't. Were you born? But if you were little. And the restaurant that Mom and Dad had.
Yeah.
It was an upstairs.
Yes.
And upstairs was where they used to meet.
Okay.
In the same building as
my dad's restaurant.
Yep.
At the black restaurant.
That's right. But they would come and go up those stairs. We never could see who their faces were. We didn't know who they were. But we would, and I was a child because I started kindergarten, first grade out of the house you were born in. So this is how many years ago that was. But they would come there like once a month or something. They'd be up there making all that noise and carrying on upstairs. The Ku Klux Klan
right
would have their meeting upstairs in the black neighborhood.
Right.
Wait, did she just say in the black neighborhood?
Yes, that's where it was. That's where my mom and dad's store was. In the black neighborhood.
I had never thought about that until now.
And there was nothing you could do about it.
Oh my God.
There was nothing you could do about it.
Not if you want to keep your business.
Oh my.
And I can remember being told about down 58 going toward Norfolk.
Yeah.
It's some fields, like tobacco fields and like that. I was always told that the Ku Klux Klan used to have meetings and burn their crosses in a particular field on 58, not too far out of Emporia.
Wow.
It's some old barn out there or something they used to meet at. I did see, I think I saw a picture of the barn, but I can't remember the name of that field or barn, but it was an old barn where they would meet at.
Gene, do you remember that?
Huh?
Gene, do you know anything about that? Oops.
She asked, did you know anything about the meeting out in the field out there off 58?
No, I didn't know anything about the meeting in the field, but I do know, because you mentioned it, because they would go upstairs and they had on like door faces or something. I was a little bitty girl.
They had on door faces. Wow.
Something we couldn't see who they were.
Yeah, right.
This was covered with those.
Right.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's upstairs.
That's deep. That is. Woo.
I mean, and you know, we grew up in this. We grew up in this. Really did.
I remember.
And it was no thing of saying, look, this is my building, this is my restaurant, and you're not going to use it for this purpose. If you wanted to stay in business.
And probably if you wanted to stay alive.
Yeah.
That's right. You just look the other way.
Yeah. Yeah. Yes, indeed.
Nakia, what were you going to say?
It's sad when the little children get involved in that, because I remember teaching in Emporia, and when Obama was running for office, and the little girl said, I don't know how we got on talking about who was president or whatever, but the little girl said, well, we got put out the club, little Caucasian, little white girl said, we got put out the club because my mama and daddy didn't voted for Obama.
Put out a what club?
You got put out the club. I don't know.
They got put out the club.
Okay, so these are the preppy kids that hang out at the country club, and they have families, certain families that hang together.
I see.
And so she was one of those, and she was like, "Well, I don't know." One of those teachers were asking her some questions, and she said, "Yeah, we got put out the club because my parents decided they're gonna vote for Obama." And they got put out the club. I said, it's sad when they're instilling this stuff into their kids. I remember one of my sons, when he went to school, I think it was kindergarten, and one of the children called him black. And he says, Mama, am I black? No, you are not black, honey, because this crayon is black. You are brown. You're not black. You are brown, and you're handsome, and you're a good-looking young man. But I know my oldest son is now going to be 40. And in school, they just, he just smiles and he laughs all the time. And I'm like, okay, what they got to do with it? He's here every day. He's neat. He's clean. His work is done. I don't understand. They get intimidated if we dress our kids nice, if we keep our kids nice. They're intimidated by some of them, and they will not give your child credit for the things they do. So we really have to advocate in these schools and in our communities for our children, and don't allow them to label your children. Know what's going on in the school system. Know where your child is and what's going on, because there's so many gangs, and as well as gangs, you got prejudice, you got the drugs, you got so much going on that you have to step in and advocate, and you have to teach your children how to be respectful, but yet at the same time, talk to you, and you talk to them. Let them know what hard times you face. So when they run into it, they know it's real.
Yeah. And
I am thankful to God I'm not raising anything.
But Lynn, and let me mention this again. I don't know what time you got to close out.
I can be here as long as you want me to.
Oh, well, listen, Gene, when I first went to work laying bricks, I went with my dad, and they were working on a school there in Hampton. And we went to work that day and everything went well. And we went to work, and I noticed that they didn't have any blacks working with whites. They had all the whites working with whites, and all the blacks working with blacks. And so trying to stay calm hearing this. And anyway, we worked all day that day. Everything went well. And got back in the car coming back from Hampton. Dad got sick. I'll never forget it. Dad got sick. And so the driver, I believe it was Crawley. You remember old man Crawley, Gene?
Sure, I do. Thomas Crawley, huh?
Yeah. He was driving. And so it was a gas station up the road. He pulled into the gas station. This was right on 58, the main highway. The world traveled, And so he pulled into the gas station. And my dad got out. I got out with him, because I know he didn't feel well. I got out with him, went up in that gas station. You could go through the front door, but you couldn't use nothing in the gas station. We went up in that front door, and my dad asked the man, my dad was sick, asked the man, could he use? And my dad looked at it, and it was several white men sitting around in there. That man looked at my dad and said, yeah, all them woods out there.
Oh, Lord.
Going out there in the woods. Ooh, and I was I won't say, but I was a young man, I'm telling you the truth. That thing hurt so bad.
I know it did.
Yes. And I knew I couldn't do nothing. And my dad was still sick on the stomach. Sure enough, my dad, he, went on out there.
Didn't get sick on the stomach and vomit on the floor.
That would have been fantastic.
They'd have probably killed us right in there. Yeah. They probably would have killed us right in that store. But he looked at my dad in his face and said, yeah, you can use the restroom, all them woods out there. And that's the truth.
I believe it.
And my dad had to go around in them woods back there. No, he did, because I went with him.
We've come a long ways, but we still got a long ways to go. I don't think prejudice is going to die. I'm sure it's not going to die.
No, it's not going to die.
It's not.
It's not going to die.
No, it's not.
And
see,
the is,
so many people in stores, because I had foster children, and right here in this little pitiful emporium, y'all remember People's Cleopas?
Yeah, I remember People's.
Yeah, and I took them in there. It was around approaching Christmas, I believe, and I was getting everybody a new outfit. And this man walked behind us, and I just got tired of him. If I went over here, because I had 3 boys and 3 girls, whenever the body boys clothes, I would look up, and when he would see me looking at me, he'd act like he looking for something.
Right.
Everywhere we went, I saw him. But after I straightened his hand parts out, he didn't bother us no more that night. You have to get ugly with some people.
That's true.
I ain't gonna say no more.
Well,
what did you say?
You ain't always just say
you have to get ugly with some people.
Yes,
you do.
Listen here. Look, these are 3. Like I told y'all, my daddy is an elder in the Church of God in Christ. He real holy. He real holy. He'll wear shorts in the summertime, but he got to fight to do it. Nikita is an evangelist in the church, real holy. Jean, evangelist in the Church of God. As a matter of fact, the Church of God in Christ that grandmama and granddaddy started down in Emporia. Real holy people. The holy people of the Lord is telling y'all that you're going to have to get ugly with some people, and that this situation with white supremacy and racism, it ain't going nowhere. We're not going to end racism and white supremacy. That's not what's going to happen. What needs to happen is that people need to start paying for their white supremacy and racism. That we need to have a society in which laws and rules and mores are not based on white supremacy and racism. We can't change the way people think and feel about us. I don't care about how you feel about me. Haven't y'all figured out about now that I don't care how you feel about me? I'm not even concerned with how you treat me.
That's right.
That's something different.
Oh, yes.
And if anything, if you have not taken anything else from this conversation tonight with my family. And I hope that I'm going to be able to get a couple of more members of my family to come and have these conversations, because there were so many different experiences that younger generations of people had, struggling to get a foothold in this society, a little bit of something, and they went up against the same thing, but somehow here we are.
Oh, yeah.
And that is God, that is us being when we about that life. So if y'all don't take anything else from this conversation, I want you to understand that Black folks in the South, we have survived because we are about that damn life.
Amen.
We stay silent when we have to survive.
Yes.
But we didn't survive by staying silent.
No.
That's right.
We survived by kicking some ass every once in a while.
You are right.
Yeah. Had to.
And we still, what y'all saw at the Montgomery boat dock beat down.
Yeah, it can get real.
We've been about that life. And if these are the experiences of the people that I came from, I guarantee you that everybody in your family has the same kinds of experiences. Talk to your elders. Talk to the people in your family about how they came up, what it was like. Record it, get it on audio, on video. Do it for posterity, but do it to understand that we're not that far. We're not that far from what our parents went through. And it is our job, it is our duty, it is our responsibility to be organized to make sure that our children and our grandchildren don't have to go through the same hell.
I'll tell you.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
So now y'all know why I'm the way I am. Now you know.
Feisty. Mm-hmm.
Well, you got it honest.
I ain't steal it. I did
Oh,
not
yeah.
steal it.
You got it honest from both sides.
But Nikita, you should have tell them about that slave thing that's in Fayetteville in the middle of the city.
Huh?
In
yes.
Greenville, North Carolina, we have a market house, and the history is as that it was where they sold slaves.
Yeah.
Hold on. The what now?
It's called the Market House. It sits in the middle of downtown Fayetteville, and they sold slaves there.
And it's still there.
It's still there.
Still there.
Wait a minute.
It still stands to this day.
Yeah.
And when Black Lives Matters came out, they put that emblem around it about Black Lives Matters. They've tried to burn this place down.
Wait, who tried to burn it down?
Some people tried to burn it down. Let's put it that. Just like that.
Okay.
The reason they tried to burn it down because they said homeless people were living up in there.
That's an excuse.
And they don't want the homeless downtown. So, but the fact is, actually, slaves were sold there.
Slaves.
And so the uproar is, some people want it taken down because it's a reminder of that. Others are saying, no, let it stay because it's a part of the history of Fayetteville. We don't have a lot of Black memorials here or anything, and to be honest, we got a little tiny park they called MLK Park, and it's so small it ain't even a half an acre.
Wow.
So we do have a small museum that we'll share with about some of the Black schools here, some of the Black neighborhoods, a lot of the prominent doctors and nurses, prominent people that lived here in Fayetteville, but it's a small museum. And a lot of people don't even know about it, but there's history here. There is history here. And of course, we're right next to what is called Fort Bragg, or now, as they call it, Fort Liberty.
They changed the name of that?
Change. You went from Fort Bragg to Fort Liberty. What's so different about Liberty that stands for us? It's nothing that stands for us and for people of other cultures, to be honest. It's just a reminder of all the things the Black soldiers struggled through here in North Carolina. They don't talk about that part of what our African American brothers and sisters went through to be a part of the United States Army, Air Force Base. We have an Air Force Base here. Most people don't even know that either. It's just the history is not being celebrated. It's not being celebrated. So,
and when you went online, you couldn't see anything about all the Black businesses that we had in Emporia.
Just,
we had our own bakery also.
Oh, that wasn't mentioned. It was like only three. Dr. Joyner, I think, was mentioned in it. I think I saw Pitt's name, and it's about three prominent Black people that was mentioned, and that's because when they began to celebrate Juneteenth, you know, Mary Person, when Mary Person became president, not president, but mayor, she got a lot of threats and other things too.
Yep.
They did finally get to celebrating Juneteenth, and they put a little history in there, but it's not much about the Black businesses and business owners.
Not like you would think it would be. It should be.
And then, like I said, the history document records, they only documented that Masonic building there in Emporia.
I remember that.
It's that big house, that big white house.
Oh yeah,
the old historical house.
And a big plantation house and the
Masonic.
I can't get on Main Street.
Village View.
Yeah.
Village View. It was a plantation house.
It was a plantation house.
They have that up there, and the Masonic building, and I think the Armory are the only three historical spots that they really talk about.
That they really consider important.
Yeah.
But
and they don't even show. They show pictures of the old bridge, the old downtown, when they were in charge and owned everything. way back in the day when y'all, like you said, they side of town. They never showed y'all's our side of town.
They didn't show our side of town.
There's no pictures of it. No pictures of it at all.
They couldn't show our side of town and not see our businesses that we had. So I guess just don't show it at all.
Right.
Yeah.
So
but anyway, I have enjoyed being with my family tonight online.
We have enjoyed you so much too. Thank you so much for being on the call and filling in the gaps. And thank you so much, Aunt Jean.
All right, darling. I love you. Y'all take care.
All right, baby. We'll talk to you later. All right. But Lynn,
Yes, Daddy.
when I first came down here, riding around Fayetteville, and Nikita took me by that slave house, and I'm gonna call it just what it is. I don't care how pretty they make it today, how nice it look today. I don't care what name they put on it today. It's an old slave house. That's what it is. It's an old slave house. And when she told me that's where they used to sell slaves, Black people, that thing hit me. I mean, real people in chains.
Yes.
Real people in chains and shackles. They would separate the husband from the wife and the children from their parents and sell them at this market that I'm looking at. Old slave market. That's what it is. Hey, it looks beautiful. Hey, look, they dressed it up.
That's all because they're revitalizing downtown. The younger generation has moved in, and now they revitalize a lot of the older buildings and stuff to open up coffee shops, breweries, antique shops.
Around the slave market.
Yeah,
right.
Around the slave market.
Right. That part there. Fayetteville used to have we have Methodist College, and you can tell by the name that it's not ours. We have Fayetteville State Go Broncos, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But where the predominantly Black people were, like I said, when the older people die out, sometimes their children don't pick up and carry the legacy on.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore then they let it get bought out or it gets run down. And then, the county, the state's going to take over, the land. So they're still taking land and things from us. They're just doing it in a sneaky other way. That's all. It's not much has changed. When have any of us ever got 40 acres in a mule?
Woo, come on now. Mm. So
Grandpa didn't get it, So,
mm-hmm. So let me ask y'all this last question, and I'm gonna let y'all go because it's been almost 2 hours, and
this has been, how time flies.
This has been so good. This has been so good. I'm so happy that y'all took the time to do this, and I appreciate you, and I love you both so much.
Same here, baby.
Yes.
Not but. What do you do with those scriptures in the Bible that say slaves obey your master and stuff like that? What do you do with those scriptures? Understanding, like, when you just said how it hit you.
Yes.
What do you do with those scriptures?
Well, coming up at that time, there was nothing, really it says obey those that have rule over you.
Yeah, true. Yes.
Yes. Obey those that have rule. And as far as slaves obey your master, they had no choice. They had no choice. They used to have slaves ran away and they got caught. And when they brought them back, they got whipped, almost killed, and they had no choice. But when I came up as a little boy, I had a choice. I had a choice. Way back when my dad was a little boy, he almost had no choice. No choice in what he said or what he did. And I want to talk to you some more about the Malone history that was taken from the Malone.
What do you mean?
My great granddad invented the Ferris wheel.
The Ferris wheel?
Yes.
Cotton picker too.
Yes.
He built the Ferris wheel.
He built it out of wood. It had a mule to pull something that would cause it to turn. Mm-hmm. My great granddad.
Then his name was Let Malone.
Well, they used to call him Let Me Alone. I don't know why.
Wonder why.
I don't know why, but they used to call him, so I heard Let Me Know. But I believe his name was PC. They called him PC Malone. He really was an inventor. He really had a mind to make things better, I was told. I was also told that my great granddad, I guess it was the same granddaddy, invented the cotton chopper. They used to call it a cotton chopper. But at that time, guess who took owner? The white man took owner. Mm-hmm. He couldn't go anywhere with it but to his master. And when he did, his master took it.
Wow.
His master took it. I even heard that, where Lawrenceville is. Mm-hmm. I even heard that the Malones used to own a lot of land up there that the white folks just took.
Oh, my God.
Because my dad is from up that area.
Oh, I didn't know Granddaddy was from Lawrenceville.
He was from up that area. Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he was from up that area. Yep. So see. And I was told that if you could find an old school book, mm-hmm. you might could find a Malone, PC Malone, Horace Malone, in some old school book. Yeah. I was told by an old man one time that he knew it was in there because he read it.
Oh, wow.
I was told by an old man.
Alice told us that.
I was told by an old man that he knew that P.C. Malone was in the old school book. But just like I said, back in those days, slaves had no say. Had no say, you know. But I mean, we've come a long way, but we haven't arrived yet either.
Lord have mercy.
We haven't arrived yet.
And see, this is why I do what I do. Aside from the fact that, you know, I say all the time that Abdus Lukman was the one who pushed me in front of this camera. He did.
Right.
But I had this in me.
Right.
I had this in me. I just didn't have the confidence until Abdus came along to do this.
Right.
You know, so the universe, God, the ancestors moves things around and puts people in our lives for a reason. And I got to tell you what, I am so glad that I am your daughter. I am so proud to be your daughter. And I am so glad that you found Nikita to take care of you, because you a mess.
Absolutely.
You know that, right?
Yeah, I know. I ain't care.
Oh, it's a few things that really get under his skin, and this is one of the issues, you know, really it is, you know, because we've been searching the family history, going back and trying to find out many details as we can. And it is, you know, like you said, we may have come a long way, but we still got a long ways to go. And we shouldn't just sit back and be silent and hide in the shadows. Know what this Constitution says and know how to use it to your benefit, because that's what they do.
Don't they? Don't they?
That's what they do. It's so many laws out here that are still on the books that should have been done away with many years ago.
But I always tell y'all, they are organized.
And that's what organized to get organized. And maybe hard times are going to have to really come for us to understand that. But we have to get organized and stand united, because as a united force, we are something to be reckoned with.
Thus saith the Lord. All right, y'all.
We love you and thank you. Thank you for having us as your guest.
We love you. I love you. I love y'all so much. Thank you so much for tonight. I can't wait to see y'all again soon. I'll hopefully have information about this kidney thing within the next couple of weeks. So
all right.
Well, just praying. Thank y'all so much. I love y'all so much.
We love you. We love you.
All right. Love you much.
All right. Good night. I told y'all this was special. I told you it was special. And these are the people I come from. These, you know, they're just regular folks who love the Lord. They love their people. They instilled that in me, I think, without even knowing it. And they resisted in ways that could have taken their lives. There were so many times when they might not have been here. That's how easy it was for us to fall prey to racist, terrorist violence in this country. So I really hope that you all took whatever you needed to take from this conversation with my dad and from Nikita and my aunt, because this is who I am. This is what a small town, living in a small town, has been like for our people. But this is who I am. I come from those folks. You can mess with us if you want to. You might not come back. As always, luta continua. The struggle continues. But I promise you, if you keep fighting, Victoria acerta. Victory is certain. Peace, everybody.